So Carl, what do we have here?
This is a 1987 Toyota Landcruiser HJ75 Troop Carrier. It's also called a Troopy. It's original Trakka conversion from Australia. What they did is the guy was actually really into Volkswagen Westphalia vans, but wanted to create something like that for the Outback. So they used the Landcruiser Troop Carrier and put a pop top on them and outfitted them for camping across the Outback. I found it on the East Coast. It was already brought into the US. It had a blown 2H, which is an old school diesel engine. We swapped in a 1HD FT, which is a later model Toyota diesel. It's a 4.2 liter turbo, and it's got an aftermarket G turbo on it with intercooler. So it's making probably over 400 foot-pounds of torque. Dual full river batteries, aluminum radiator, custom airbox. One unique thing is Torfab fabbed up a airbox for it, but then it's also got this solenoid here because the truck was equipped with a snorkel, and we needed a lot more airflow than what the snorkel could provide. So it's actually got a switch, so you can switch it to the snorkel, or for regular driving, you can have it open and more free-flowing, so you can get more air to the intake. ARB front bumper, intensity lights. It's got a super winch in there. We fully redid the axles. It's got old man emu suspension with some BP51 internal bypass shocks. Fully rebuilt. We're running a front rage conversion kit to run later Tacoma FJ Cruiser brakes on it, which widens the front track by about 3 inches. Some method wheels. Nitro Ridge Grappler tires, about 6 months of body work. Underneath the original hard top, or the pop top, there was the roof structure was rusted out, so we actually went ahead and had it completely reconstructed, the whole frame structure and everything, stripped down, repainted, so it's pretty sweet. We got this bumper from Kurt at Cruiser Outfitters, has Expedition 1 build them, and the best thing about this bumper is we got dual swing outs, but they're tied into the factory rear doors, so easy operation. They just pivot out with the door.
Oh, look at that. We
built this custom bike rack so you can hang 2 mountain bikes off the back. Here's the other door, and then this is where it gets real interesting. We got the inside was just built out by Goose Gear, using their newest materials and construction method to give a lot cleaner, more homey feel to it. We got a Dometic stainless fridge, freezer on board, and you know, we've got all these drawers for storage. You can see the Goose Gear logo in there. All real nice, top quality stuff. These are Baltic birch, so they're really lightweight, strong. We retained one of the factory jump seats, so that'll sit too, and it folds up and there's more storage underneath. We've got these track system that there's a bunch of, you can attach these tie downs and secure anything. I actually took this down to Baja 1000 with the Toyota team, and I had a welder and stuff back here all strapped down, didn't budge an inch. And then we got the pop top. The canvas isn't done yet, so we're not going to pop it up, but the floor platform was redone by Goose Gear with the Baltic birch with their aluminum extrusions, and it has struts, so when you pop the pop top up, you can actually pop the bed platform up in one quick easy move and stand in here and cook and do whatever you want to do. There's a sink up top here. We kept it with a freestanding pull-out stove, so you can either use it inside or outside. Up here you can see these panels. Those actually come down and you can set it up as a sleep platform for the lower deck if you need to, if the weather's really bad, or if you kids can sleep down here and make it a 2-story.
That's awesome.
It's got another full river battery underneath, powering everything in here.
So you got a little prep table over here too?
Yeah. Then we got ARB twin compressor, air lockers. We did conversion with our heavy duty 32 spline rear axle shafts. You can see they're different than our standard style. They've got a double spline with a knockoff cap, 32 spline, so it's running the later style diff like found in the 100 and 200 series and later 70 series. So I mean, that stuff is all Dana 60 or bigger strength, but in the factory axle housing. So anybody that has any of these 70 series, 40 series, 60 or 80 full float, we can do all this same stuff too.
That's a big strength upgrade.
Yeah, it's got dual tanks factory. On the way back here from California, 80 miles an hour through Nevada, I was pulling 23 miles per gallon. Wow. And that gives you a pretty long range.
Yeah, no kidding.
Up front we've got, this is what kind of made it possible to be able to drive an old vehicle like this that far, is these Scheel-Mann seats. They're from Germany. They look like they were made to fit this. There's also custom brackets that are made to bolt these seats right into a 70 series Landcruiser. They have them for other vehicles. They're heated and they have multiple adjustments. I actually had a pretty bad tailbone injury that still gives me trouble, especially when I'm driving, and I was actually comfortable in these seats. 5-speed manual transmission, all pretty bare bones. It's right-hand drive. Boost gauge, pyrometer. One of the biggest questions I get asked is how it's like driving a right-hand drive vehicle. And you get used to it real quick. The hardest part is just kind of shifting with your left hand. Sometimes your brain wants to make you shift backwards like a mirror image. And then the turn signals and wipers. That's the, driving. I can't tell you how many times I've turned the windshield wipers on when I wanted to change lanes. And then after driving this for a few days, I get in a normal left-hand drive vehicle and do the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got an aftermarket clutch. It's got a stock but brand new OE H75 transmission. There's actually the exhaust port. There's a diesel heater on board, and that'll actually run off of the diesel tank and keep it warm in there without running the truck.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and if you look underneath, it's really clean. There's no rust, no new drive shaft, rebuilt transfer case. The axles, running our chromoly Burfield kit. The same one for 40 series fits the 70 series stuff. So pretty much dialed for going on long excursions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Who can you thank for this build?
Well, we got Torfab did the engine swap. We got Toyota USA helped out with a lot of the OEM parts that are hard to come by. We got Dave Stedman in Japan. Japan 4x4 helped come up with some of those. Kurt at Cruiser Outfitters with the bumper and some of the other OE parts. We got Method Wheels, Nitro Tire, Scheel-Mann seats. Goose Gear, of course, did all the build out on the interior. Wyatt at Rock Solid Toys helped out with some of the mechanical things while it was down in California that we couldn't get to. Shock install and some of the maintenance things and stuff like that made it possible to drive it back without going over it, and no problems on a couple thousand miles of driving. So
awesome.
Yeah, and then full river batteries as well, and G turbos for the turbo and intercooler. And then most of the stuff was in terms of axles and suspension, and most of the build out was done by our guys here in our shop. We do a little bit more on our project builds than we do for the public, but most of this we can do as well.
Good deal. Well, thanks for talking about it, Carl.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful Troopy. Love it.
Yep.
We'll probably have a full blog available on the WordPress site sometime within the next few weeks, as well as more video and photo content, so you guys stay tuned.